Welcome to Westworld, everyone! I spent the past month building the Fallout version of a western theme park of violent delights where the people of the Commonwealth can unleash all that hate and fear of synth and the Institute, indulge in revenge for all the people that went missing and assumed replaced, for all the people that were outright killed by patrolling synth. Now, of course, the Fallout version of hosts are Gen 3 synth, right? But that would be boring to look at. It would turn Sweetwater Station into a regular western town. So here's my idea for Fallout Westworld. The official story is that some very rich casino owner from New Vegas built this place and had a group of fearless mercenaries hunt down patrolling Gen 1 and 2 synth and capture them. They were brought to Westworld, repaired and reprogrammed by some genius robot mechanic and put to work. Most of them end up brutalized by the guests in various ways. Any synth who works in a saloon and casino is off limits though, but any other synth is fair game. Every synth in Westworld is armed and programmed to defend itself when attacked, so you can imagine the carnage that unfolds every single day. So Fallout's Westworld is the real deal. No toying with defenseless hoes whose bullets can't hurt the guests. Fallout Westworld is a brutal carnival like the rest of the Commonwealth, and people come from all over to participate.
You're one of the good guys.
All the buildings are from the mod Nuka World Shopper's Paradise. It comes with furniture and all kinds of shops. The downside is that it's quite buggy. One tap crashes the game 100%, so no idea what other objects were intended to be built. The mod was never fixed, so you gotta live with that. The biggest issue, however, is that the buildings are not nav meshed, so settlers will never enter them. The saloon seems to be an exception. It is, however, possible to lure settlers inside with idle markers, so they'll teleport inside buildings, do their job, and then teleport out at the end of the day. Other furniture I used are from the Capital Wasteland and Project Mojave packs. That's where most of the clothes are from as well. It all goes so well together in my opinion. It was a lot of fun to build a western town.
This ain't.
You'll be hearing a lot of gunshots for the entire length of the video, I'm afraid. I apologize, I hope it's not too annoying. Nothing to be done about it really. It's a guard target practice marker and I go about it day and night. I think I spent at least 10 hours just spawning settlers and putting fitting clothes on them. I believe Westworld has 56 settlers or something, the most I ever had in one place. Plus synth and Far West Minutemen NPCs that just walk around. Then there's the livestock and the dogs and the cats, so there are probably about 70 actors going about their business. So the frame rate drops below 30 all the time. I left the FPS counter on in the upper left corner so you can get an idea just how badly my computer and the engine is struggling here.
You know what
I'm surprised the settlement didn't just disintegrate. I expected everything to turn to a slideshow, to be honest. So a frame rate between 25 and 55 is actually pretty good, and not worse than my other settlements. I was really surprised. These two are supposed to be William and Dolores meeting for the first time. I do not have any blue dresses that resemble her wardrobe, and I tried to customize her head, but I don't have any matching hairstyles either, so the result is disappointing. But just go with it, okay? Because you see, obviously Westworld is run by the Institute, right? And the real hosts are the Gen 3 synths like Dolores. And the guests are not aware that there are synths here that look like them. And just like in the TV show, these Gen 3 synths are not aware they are synths. This is of course one big experiment by the Institute. The old toaster synths are just a distraction, and the guests have no idea what's really going on. You can spot cameras in several places, by the way. Everything is monitored and recorded. So the hosts are Dolores, her father, Maeve, Clementine, and Bernard. I'll have to tell you which ones they are since they look nothing like the actors, I'm afraid. This is Peter Abernathy. As you know, it's not really possible to make anyone look super old and wrinkled. Same goes for the man in black, who is of course also here. Even if both William and him being here makes no sense, but he has to be here, right? I wasn't sure if I should put a fence around the whole place. I decided against it in the end. Turrets and a whole bunch of combat ready synths should make most raiders decide to stay away. This is the tiny Abernathy farm that just barely feeds Dolores and her father. They sell what little they can spare. Their lives are a lot less violent than those of their TV counterparts, since they live like regular people and the other townfolk have no clue that a handful of year-round residents are creepy human-looking synth. Fallout Dolores has never been killed and has just met this sweet young man William, who's more interested in a farmer's daughter than racking the talking toasters with his buddy. Fallout William is a bright, ambitious merchant, originally from Rivet City in the capital Wasteland. He came to the Commonwealth looking for opportunities to grow his business in other parts of the country. Like any theme park, Westworld is an expensive adventure. There's no admission fee, but lodgings are pricey, so are the shops, the saloon, casino, and any other ways to have fun. Hundreds of guests come to Westworld each month. Business is booming and the shop owners are well off. Dolores and her father are poor compared to most everyone else, but they like this place. While there are shootouts going on every minute of the day, violence against humans by humans is not tolerated. Dolores and her father are well liked, and many of the well-to-do shop owners give them stuff for free all the time. Oh, if only they knew.
Need something?
Public Occurrences has an office in Sweetwater Station. Piper is doing really well in Diamond City and has decided to branch out. This place is the best one to get stories about the Institute from guests who like nothing more than to talk about their theories over whiskey. Nobody has any clue just how close they are to the Institute that runs right below the town. Whoa, yeah, this particular settler likes to bug out like this. She's the only one. I don't know. Maybe the Institute replaced her. Who knows? This guy is wearing an outfit from the Far West Minutemen. A funny story. The easiest way to get their gear, which cannot be crafted unfortunately, is to spawn Minutemen, kill them, and take their clothes. The Bethesda mod Unlocked Settlement Objects lets you spawn NPCs in your settlement that function as guards. What's cool is that they will spawn in whatever outfits another mod added. So I teleported to Outpost Simanja and spawned dozens of them until I got the outfits of their bodies that I wanted. It was a bloodbath. The hilarious thing was that I killed some outside the settlement border. So in order to scrap their bodies, I had to drag them back. As naked bodies were floating in front of me as I was walking slowly back to camp, I started to question my life choices. Yeah, a lot of people get killed by the synth here. They are stored for a day, and if nobody claims the bodies, they are burned. If they are claimed, they are sometimes buried right here rather than dragged back to wherever they came from. Obviously, this is not a family theme park, and most bodies are never claimed by family or friends. I love the hot tubs. I was so happy to learn that I can play settlers in them. They are interactive in theory, but are kind of buggy when you try to use them. Sorry it took me so long to upload a new video. Fallout 76 really burned me out, and I was also stuck in winter lethargy big time. It was a really long dark winter this year. Didn't feel like doing anything creative, So I played a bunch of shorter games from my backlog, like the Eternal Cylinder, super cute, unique gameplay. Kino Bridge of Spirits is one of the most gorgeous games I've ever played, so beautiful, but the combat kinda kicked my ass. Final boss I had to knock down to story mode and I still died 3 times, mortifying. I played Pentiment, awesome game, highly recommend. Also finally played Stray, ending was kinda disappointing, otherwise amazing game. I finished The Sinking City, great atmosphere narrative. I enjoyed it a lot, but gameplay was honestly atrocious. Reviews did not lie about that. Last game I played I've had for years was Unforeseen Incidents. Loved it, maybe the most fun point-and-click adventure I've played in quite some time. Loved the darker humor. And now I've finally tackled this settlement that I've been mulling over in my head for a month, since Christmas, basically. I was watching season 4 of Westworld and suddenly realized that this is just a perfect settlement theme for my Desert Overhaul setup that I'm still running. It's honestly baffling how I never made a connection. The Institute and Gen 3 Synth, like, duh, girl. I guess the TV show just slipped my mind completely for years. I thought season 2 was really bad, but eventually I did watch season 3 and liked it better than most people. Season 4 started out so promising, but, well, we all know how that ended. So while Westworld has really been great since season 1, and I've never been that much of a fan to be honest, trying to recreate it in a Fallout universe has been great fun, and I really like how it turned out. So, any guest who commits a violent crime against another human being is thrown into jail. If the victims survive the attack, the offender can either pay any price or service the victim demands, or, if they can't or won't do that, they can take their chances with a synth standoff. Only one will survive that. For murder, the sentence is hanging. The sheriff is neither synth nor institute. He's an ex-Diamond City guard who was approached by middleman of that rich casino owner who supposedly built Westworld. He was offered a handsome amount of caps he just couldn't refuse. He was chosen because he isn't the sharpest tool in the shed, but well liked and by the book. He runs the daily human business well, and nobody is suspicious of him because everyone knows that he is capable but not that smart, so definitely not a double agent. The bank deals in pre-war money, the currency in Westworld for all the fun stuff. Gets straight caps for paper money at an outrageous exchange rate. Shops accept caps sometimes, but the official currency is pre-war money. The shop owners, doctors, and prostitutes then take the pre-war money they earn to the bank to trade it back into caps at a different exchange rate. Or if they wish, they can trade among each other with paper currency. All the caps the town makes is stored securely at the bank. The casino and bars, run by robots who of course work for free, pay for the upkeep of the town. A small amount of what the townfolk earn is also kept by the town management, basically as rent. In turn, the townfolk know their caps are safe at the bank. All synths are programmed to defend the bank if under attack. They basically have a receiver like the recall codes. If somebody at the bank pushes a button, all the synths will come running. There is also a Yes Man robot ready to restore order if needed. Various big and small cards you see are from the mod cards of the Commonwealth. They all look really cool. Most have card tires, but there are a few that were just perfect for Western town. So this Yes Man is obviously bugged. It's actually a sentry bot replacer of the one that's locked inside the vanilla building next to the tracks. It bugged out shortly before I was done with my settlement figures. I wanted to trigger it attacking. Couldn't get it unbugged and didn't feel like killing it and forwarding like 30 days or however long it takes for enemies to respawn. Sad puppy. Well, this bar comes with the old school protector and shakes. After a while he always clips through the floor or bugs out and stands next to that vanilla building with a sentry bot inside. There are also 2 service bots there. I guess he gets lonely. Yeah, okay, the chairs don't work for me for whatever reason. I know that settlers can sit on them. However, the person who recorded these didn't align them right. The chairs, I mean. Settlers will sit on the air at a wrong angle. It looks really comical. And as you can see, the person assigned to the table floats a little bit too. The slot machines are usable by settlers and have an animation, I think, but I couldn't get any settler to play a game when I was recording. I tried for like an in-game week. No luck, of course. Another sad puppy moment for me. No Western town, and certainly no Westworld, is complete without a brothel. This lady here is my poor approximation of Clementine. Again, no matching hairstyle and also no clothes that even remotely resemble the character at the beginning of the show. The guests, of course, assume she's human, so they are not allowed to get too rough. Those who like it rough and violent have other options. I bet you can guess what they are. Yes, second generation synths, of course. The game does not have female synths, unfortunately, as you all know, but I realized there was a trick to it. If a female settler wears a synth's costume of one wearing a uniform, it will trigger the female version of it. That's pretty cool, right? Sadly, I cannot put any clothes on top of the synth's bodysuit, only armor, and that looks kind of weird, so I didn't do it. So they are either naked males or in uniform. Also, let's pretend those smooth Ken doll bodies here have been modified. Alright? I tried to find a way to draw the maze symbol, but couldn't come up with anything in the end, so an O with a W will have to do as a vague reminder. I'm not sure anybody would even get it without an explanation. I would have loved to draw the maze in the sand when shootouts happen, so you have to zoom out to be able to read it. But again, no idea how to pull that off, so just imagine how awesome that would have looked, please.
I'm so hungry all the time.
These two food vendors are the only places you can get a quick hot meal. The saloons only serve alcohol. There's a fireplace next to the train tracks where people can cook their own meals, however. If you're wondering why my sole survivor sits down sometimes, it's to reset settlers who refuse to be at their animation markers by forwarding time. I had so many problems getting settlers to do as instructed. By this I mean way more issues than usual. The guy reading stopped doing it at some point for no reason whatsoever, and the only thing that helped was to put down the other reading marker a few feet away.
Hope you ain't one of them synths here to spy on me.
Hi, how are you? Hey, how's it going?
Werebrew is providing Westworld with some of the alcohol served at the saloon and casino. A lot of beverages like Nuka-Cola have to be acquired outside the town. The demand is just way too high.
Easy living. This ain't.
The Undertaker might be the busiest person in town. Not a day goes by without a bunch of guests getting killed by synth. He gets paid out of town coffers because all his clients are dead, and most didn't bring anybody along who would pay for proper burial. The Undertaker is a happy man with a very steady income. Initially, I was not happy with the location at all. Not a whole lot of places along the train tracks even remotely suitable for a big settlement. I was hoping for something more level, but no luck. And when I started putting down buildings, I hated how it looked. I was so unhappy with the whole thing, I almost gave up thinking this Westworld idea was not feasible at all. Fortunately, I just kept adding buildings and it came together in the end after all. There is, however, one major gripe I have with this build, and it's the Institute part. I wanted to have this big secret Institute base hidden away and make it look like in the show with hosts and glass rooms getting cleaned and repaired and reset. But none of the prefabs is big enough. Not even close, and I didn't want to add a big custom building that would look so out of place. So I started looking for basement or bunker mods, and I did find one that adds an interior space to the settlement through a hatch, but none of these different bunkers had a suitable layout. The only one I could repurpose was the tiny square military bunker. As you will see in a second, it's basically a storage closet. I can't describe how disappointing that is, to have this grand vision and then having to contend with this. I added a fake door to at least create the illusion that this secret institute base is actually much bigger, but yeah. Obviously, this is a fake elevator in both world spaces that is not connected. You can see parts of the ladder of the bunker sticking out of the wall so I can get back up. Initially I wanted a man in black for this scene here, but he just would not do it. He cannot be assigned to target practice. I tried and tried. He can be assigned to any other animation marker, but not this one. I mean, I like how the settlement turned out, I really do, but there are so many elements I couldn't get working and it just drives me crazy. So this is where all the action happens. Shootouts with the synths as the biggest draw of Westworld. People come from all over to see and kill synths. Most people have never actually seen one. So coming here is like visiting an exotic animal at the zoo. It's a very violent version of a petting zoo, I guess. Not everyone is bold enough to risk their lives like that. The odds are not necessarily in your favor. Institute laser rifles are pretty deadly, especially against a slow revolver, but that's really all that the guests are allowed to use. No heavy guns, no automatic weapons. It's much easier and cheaper to repair a few bullet holes on a synth and dispose of human bodies than it is to replace a synth that got blown apart by a minigun or a grenade launcher, you see. Obviously the Institute does not care that Westworld is a slaughterhouse for humans more than for synth. We all know that Father believes that life on the surface is miserable, so this place just ends some of that suffering. Westworld just proves to the Institute that surface dwellers are just demented and suicidal. This place is both the Institute version of a vault experiment and a study on how quickly anyone would be able to spot a Gen 3 synth, if at all. Bernard here is part of the team supervising Westworld, of course. Like in the show, he believes he's human. Yeah, I know it's a bit silly that nobody would ever find out what's inside those boarded up buildings. My headcanon is that rather than enter through doors, the Institute staff just teleports, and replace Gen 1 and 2 synths are also teleported back into the park discreetly. I guess few people survive this place long enough to get suspicious or witness weird stuff going on, And I imagine if they do, then a cursor will be sent to dispose of the witness. And here's the man in black. Him and Bernard are probably the only ones sort of recognizable. His outfit is the Mojave Hunter, without the coat and the silver striped hat. I thought I turned out close enough. The man in black is a little unhinged ever since he killed his daughter, thinking she was a synth. He's the longest surviving guest at the park. He can tell something is going on here, and he's determined to find the Institute and murder everyone there. He has marked the synths he's killed, and every time they reappear, he seeks them out again, trying to figure out how to hack them and trace where they disappeared to for a few days. He has left messages inside the bodies for whoever repairs them. Now he's waiting for a response. If he can get to the Institute, maybe they will come to him. And oh, they know. He's being closely monitored by Bernard. He's their most valuable test subject. How smart can those surface dwellers get? Westworld does provide medical services. The surgeons will try to save lives, if only to study their resilience. Injured guests are a goldmine for the medical research on surface dwellers and how radiation has changed their bodies and affected their intelligence and reflexes. So those doctors are actually Institute field operatives. They were carefully trained to blend in and imitate regular surface dwellers. Keeping their disdain hidden has been the biggest challenge. Fortunately, their patients are usually in no condition to notice if something about them seems a little off. The big corners belong to Abernathy farm. What's really cool is that the red stack replacer I installed also changes the red stacks to big corners in better stores. So I can spawn as many as I want and they'll stick to the pen, most of the time. The red stacks from farming resources, however, are not replaced, so I can have both if I want. I added a little water wheel just because I thought it looked neat. I had no idea what I would be producing power for though, so I did not think that through. And that more or less concludes my tour of Westworld. I didn't keep track of how long it took to build, but it was not as long as Spectacle Island took. Maybe 50 hours, I don't know exactly. Decorating the shops and then populating the place was the biggest time sink. I had the weirdest bug with target practice where the guards would keep clipping into the ground when equipped with a lever action rifle from Far Harbor. Giving them a Western revolver or shotgun fixed it. I have no idea what that was about, but glad I figured that out. I was having a minor meltdown thinking the most important part of the park bugged out. That bug started happening when I was almost done. I realized it was after giving everyone fitting weapons. I'll quickly show you the park by night because there's one host we haven't seen yet. But don't get too excited, she does not look anything like Maeve's actress, but here she is, the singing prostitute with a katana on her back. I do have a working piano to go with the singing, but that one looks too modern and plays a modern tune. So all I could do is put the synths there, standing over it, sort of looking like he's playing, but unfortunately I couldn't get both to be there at the same time. Details that drive me crazy. So thank you all for watching another one of my Fallout settlement builds. As much as I enjoy it, I can't wait to check out what's possible in Starfield. I am so damn hyped at this point, I need to temper my expectations. Base building might actually not be the big improvement over Fallout I'm hoping for, so chances are I'll return to building more scrappy settlements. I'm slightly worried Starfield will only have prefab modules to be assembled at will, kind of like Subnautica or the prefabs in No Man's Sky. That would be super disappointing for me, but we'll have to see. I'll definitely upload Starfield bases to my channel. Might be a while though because I played Baldur's Gate 3 first, and that game is huge supposedly, so might be 2024 when the Starfield base building insanity unfolds. Thanks for sticking with my channel, enjoy the outro with more Westworld music.